All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're tearing down a white paper about a tool called Playwright. And look, this isn't just about learning a new piece of software. This is about fixing one of the most soul-crushing problems in web development. We're going to give you a roadmap, a starting point, so you can finally start automating with real confidence.
You know the feeling, right? It's that moment. You run a test, it passes. Awesome. You run it again. You haven't changed a single line of code, and boom, it fails. You run it a third time, and it passes again. We call these flaky tests, and honestly, they're a huge time waster. They destroy confidence in your work and make you question everything. It's a massive headache.
Well, this is exactly where Playwright enters the scene. You can think of it as the modern answer to that exact problem. At its core, it's a browser automation framework. It lets you write scripts that act like a real person using your website, clicking buttons, typing in forms, and, making sure everything actually works the way it's supposed to.
So why is this thing such a game changer? Well, first off, reliability. This is the big one. It has this thing called auto-wait, which means it's smart enough to wait for a button to actually load before it tries to click it. That one feature alone wipes out probably the #1 cause of those flaky tests we were just talking about. Then it's cross-browser. You write one test, and you can run it across Chrome, Firefox, and even WebKit, which is the engine for Safari. If something does go wrong, the debugging is incredibly fast. Playwright gives you screenshots, videos, and these detailed traces so you can see precisely what happened, step by step. It's also built to be CI-friendly, so it just plugs right into your automated workflows like GitHub Actions without a fight. And finally, it's scalable. It's just as good for a tiny personal project as it is for a giant enterprise-level application.
Okay, to really get started, you only need to wrap your head around 3 fundamental ideas. Seriously, that's it. Think of these as the absolute essential building blocks for any test you'll ever write. Once these click, you'll be able to look at almost any script and know exactly what's going on. First up is the test. So simple. A test is just one single automated check for one specific thing. That's it. For example, a test could be, when I click the login button, do I get to the login page? It has one mission and one mission only. Next, you've got the locator. So, how does your script know which button to click or which search box to type in? That's what a locator does. It's basically the set of instructions for finding one specific thing on the web page. It's like the GPS coordinates for an element. And finally, we have the assertion. This is the moment of truth. After your script does something, like clicking that button, the assertion is the part that checks if the right thing happened. It validates the result. It asks the question, okay, are we actually on the right web page now, or did that success message pop up like it was supposed to? So let's put it all together. Your test uses a locator to find a button, clicks it, and then makes an assertion to prove you ended up where you expected. Now here's where things get really cool, especially if you're just starting out. The framework we're looking at uses a plain language method. What that means is you don't have to be some coding genius to write tests. You can actually build powerful new checks just by editing some simple text files. And look how straightforward this is. The process is just 5 basic steps. 1, you open a specific data file. 2, you add what's called a scenario describing what you want to test. 3, you just reuse simple phrases that already exist to tell it what to do. 4, you run it. And 5, you check this really clean visual report to see if it passed or failed. It's designed to be this simple right out of the box.
And this right here, this shows you what I mean. Look at this example. The steps are just plain English. Open page, handle YouTube consent, search YouTube for. You can tell exactly what this test is supposed to do just by reading it without having to dig through a single line of complicated code. It's brilliant.
Naturally, with any tool this powerful, there are some, let's call them rules of the road. Following a few simple best practices from the get-go will save you so many headaches down the line. It's the difference between smooth sailing and constant frustration.
The main idea here is focus. Keep it simple. A best practice is giving each test one single, clear goal, like can a user log in? The classic mistake is to write one giant, messy test that tries to check the login, then profile editing, then settings, then log out, all in one go. When you keep your tests small and focused, they're easier to understand, they're reusable, and they are so much easier to fix when something eventually breaks.
I know this might feel like a lot to take in, but the paper actually lays out a super clear, step-by-step plan to get you from knowing nothing to being productive in just 2 weeks. It's a real journey designed to build your skills steadily. So, in your first week, the goal is just to find your feet. Understand the core ideas, run the tests that are already there, and try adding just 1 or 2 simple scenarios yourself. Then, in week 2, you start building on that. You start creating more complex tests that follow a real user's journey, and you even learn how to use Playwright's amazing trace viewer to figure out why a test failed. It's a totally achievable path. And this quote from the paper really just nails the entire philosophy. It's not about trying to become a world expert overnight. It's about learning the core concepts, using the simple plain language tools that are there to help you, and then just building your confidence and your skills through practice.
And that brings us to the end of our breakdown. We've seen the problem, those awful, flaky tests, we've seen how Playwright provides a real solution, and we've walked through a clear path to get you started. So the only real question left is, what's that first, boring, manual task that you are finally going to automate?